It's Math with Mrs. Peters, the crazy cat lady of Hiram High School. Today's topic is solving multi-step equations. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a whole bunch of little problems. They're each one slightly different, but I want you to realize that what we're actually doing is moving them down so that they end up being two-step equations. And then, of course, once we solve a two-step, we end up with a one-step, and then we end up with the answer. Want you to pay very close attention to the last two equations that I do because they can be confused. The answer that you get becomes confusing. So let's start off with this first problem here. Okay, I have negative 7 equals 1 minus 7n minus n. We're always, okay, going to collect like terms first. And so I have my line showing me my different sides of my equation, and I have like terms here and here. Negative 7n and minus n, which gives me negative 8n. Okay, I did not use the 1, so it comes down, and I didn't do anything with the negative 7. Now I have a two-step equation. And yes, I have the n on the right-hand side, but that's okay. I can rewrite this if I wanted to, so that I had negative 8n plus, hold it, I don't want to do it quite that way. I'm going to take this part here and leave it alone, and I'm going to write my equal sign here. I'm going to put what was on the other side of the equal sign over here. So that means I took this negative 7 and whatever's hanging out over here, all I did was write it over here in the same order. So now what I have looks like this equation here. And it's what we're used to seeing. Okay? It's a little one-step equation that we're used to seeing, or two-step equation. So I'm going to subtract 1, negative 8n equals negative 8, divide by negative 8, and I get n equals 1. I'm done. There's my solution. All right, let's look at another one of these problems. Oh my God, Mrs. Peters, this one looks horrible. I've got parentheses running all over the place. It's okay. We already know how to use the distributive property. And I'm going to distribute this negative 6 into both pieces here. So I get negative 6 plus negative 24m. Now I'm going to distribute the negative 7 into both of these. And I get, let's see, 7 times 8. I've always been bad with my 7s and 8s. Y'all find that to be true of yourselves? Sometimes I have to use a calculator. And then I get negative 41. Again, guys, we've got to collect like terms. I have like terms here and here. Okay, negative 24 and negative 56 gives me negative 80m. Then I'm going to collect the negative 35 here and the negative 6 there. So that would be negative 41 equals negative 41. Okay, now I'm going to add 41 to both sides, making sure that I know where my equal sign is. Okay, so this gives me, those cancel out, negative 8m equals 0. Divide by negative 8, and I get m is equal to 0. And yes, m can equal 0. It's a number. It's on the number line. Okay? Here comes the next problem. Oh my gosh, Mrs. Peters, there are no parentheses, and there's all sorts of stuff running around. We're going to do this just like we've done before. Put our little line down the middle. Collect like terms. Here's a like term here and here. They're on the same side. That gives me negative 1n. Didn't do anything with the 8. Over here I have 5n and negative 7n. Well, that's negative 2n. Didn't do anything with the 5. Still have my equal sign. Right, now, I've got n's on both sides of my equation here. So I'm going to, when that happens, when I have n's on both sides or variables on both sides of my equation, I'm going to move my letters to the left. That means I'm going to add 2n. Okay, so this is negative 8 plus 1n equals negative 5. This now looks like a two-step equation we've already been used to. I'm going to add 8, and I get 1n is equal to 3. Oh, there's my answer. N is equal to 3. Okay, what was that little rule that I gave you? If I have letters on both sides of my equal sign, I'm going to move my letters to the left. All right, let's look at this one. Let's put my little line between sides. I am going to distribute this negative sign into both pieces because that negative sign really is a negative 1 being multiplied. So I have negative 7n plus a negative 5. Didn't do anything to this side, so it's just going to come on down. Now, the rule from the last problem, if it's on my left, if I have variables on both sides, I am going to move them to the left. So that means the 7n comes over here. And I get negative 1n minus 2 equals, those canceled out, negative 5. Add 2 to both sides. I get negative 1n equals negative 3. Divide by negative 1. And my answer is n equals 3. All right, that rule again, if I have letters on both sides of my equal sign, I'm going to move the letters to the left. And that happened right here. All right, here comes one with lots of stuff to do. We've got to be careful. We've got to pay attention. We're going to put our line right down our equal sign. Okay, on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side of my equation, I have some like terms to collect. I have 8 and 2, which gives me 10. Didn't do anything to the 6m. On the right-hand side, I have some distributing to do. So I have negative 14m plus 2. I have this 3 that has to distribute to both of these guys over here. So I have plus 18m minus 18. Now, I still need to deal with the side that I have some stuff to collect. And that's my right-hand side. I don't have my right-hand side down to as simplistic as possible. So I'm going to collect like terms. I have negative 14m and positive 18m, which gives me 4m. And I have plus 2 minus 18, which is going to give me negative 16. Did I do anything to the left-hand side? No. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my left-hand side, I'm going to clone it, I'm just going to bring it on down. That easy. Now, I've got that situation where I have letters on both sides of my equation. Well, what did I tell you before? If I have letters on both sides, I'm moving the letters to the left. So I'm going to subtract my 4m, and I'm going to get 10 plus 2m equals negative 16. I have a two-step equation now. I am going to subtract 10 from both sides, and I get 2m equals negative 26. Divide both sides by 2. And I get m is equal to negative 13. And there's my answer. All right, let's look at this problem. I've got to put my line down the middle. Pay attention what's on the left-hand side. I've got two sets of letters here. I've got to combine these two because they're like terms, and that gives me 0n Okay? Now, what does 0 times n equal? 0 times n is equal to 0. All right? Have I done anything on this side? No. So I'm going to just bring it down. Now, negative 1 plus 0 is negative 1. And negative 1. Oh my gosh, yeah, look. Both sides of my equation look exactly alike. There are no variables running around. So here is the real tricky part with this one. If I end up with exactly the same thing on both sides of the equation, that means what's over here looks, and variables and everything, looks just like this. My solution is all real numbers. And what that means is every number on the number line can be put into this equation, and I will always get an answer that always works. It will never change. Any number works, be it a decimal, a fraction, a whole number, even imaginary numbers. They'll still work in this. One last one. Let's look at this one. Okay, here's my equal sign. I have negative 6 on nothing to do on that side. Collect my like terms. Well, I get 0x. Now here's a big question. 0 times x is 0. Didn't do anything there. Now, are the two things exactly alike on either side of the equal sign? No, they're exactly different. There is no variable. That's one big clue right here. Okay? And the answers are not equal. Well, let's say the sides are not equal. Okay? Those are the two things you're looking for because our answer is no solution, which is a totally different answer. It means no number I can put in here will make this a true statement. Unlike this equation over here, where any number I put in made it a true statement, gave me all real numbers. This one is no solution because no answer I put in will make it true. Now, if you have any questions, write them down, bring them to class. We'll talk about it. We'll do some problems in class. I hope you all had a good evening, and I'll talk to you all later. Take care. Bye-bye.